Guys, if you can, whoever is not attended the class yesterday, if you can unmute yourself and talk to me.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I was unable to attend yesterday's session, sir.
Okay, all right. So what happens here is in this scenario, we would be providing you the recorded session by end of the day today, which you can actually go through that. We will send you a link on the chat, today itself by end of the session, so that you would receive the link. I mean, you can access the link, and also we will be sharing that on an email to you guys. And by end of the session, you will also get a link for you to guys to log in or to join the WhatsApp group, right? So hope everybody is clear and we are all on the same page, right?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So if at all, if you have any questions, please put it on the chat to me so that I can address that issue to you, right? And in regards with the recordings, in regards to the WhatsApp group, please get in touch with me on chat. My name is Sunil. Yeah. All right, guys. So let's wait for another 1 minute. So we have a couple of people more joining in. So we will start exactly at 9:35.
Hi Sunil. Good morning.
Hi, very good morning, Sai.
Yeah, actually, yesterday my setup is not completed. So can you help me out for that?
Yeah, sure. I would have Nikhil. Nikhil, I believe that you're a part of the training, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
Can you just share the screen? I cannot see the name as of
Sure.
I think Sai Prasad was asking about.
Yes, yes.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Can you please share the screen?
Yeah, sure.
And Narasimha, can you enable sharing screen for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I will try. Yes.
Unable to share screen.
Yeah, one moment. My team is providing you the access. Yeah, one second.
Okay. Okay, fine. No problem.
Okay, you can try.
Over to you. Yeah. All right. So, Utkarsh, post after this setup, you can take over the class, Utkarsh. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sunil. Good morning to all of you and welcome to this session.
Hello, good
Can you
morning.
hear me properly?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so let's just wait for a few minutes. It is important that all of us have this installed and then we will start.
May I know what are you trying to do here? Sai Prasad, please.
Actually, I changed the driver to install the application.
You want to install it in D drive, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, then you cancel this. Cancel it here and just change that C to capital D. This C to capital D. It will automatically create the folders for you.
Okay.
And then click next. Can cause packet consider removing space. You don't have space or?
No, actually.
Okay, I think it's because of the that space which you have, when naming the folder. It's not an issue. It's just a warning. Okay.
Actually, completely I have space for this.
It's not about it. I mean, it's
Yesterday onwards I formatted this
I
mail.
think it was about the space when you name the column. I mean, name the folder. It's because of that, I guess. Okay.
Okay, so while this is installing, we can start with our introduction to programming. And when we start writing some code, I think you will also be ready. Okay.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Can you please stop sharing the screen?
Just wait. I didn't find any option over here.
You will find it at the top.
Yeah. I already did. Sunil, I already stopped the sharing.
But I can still see your screen, I think.
Yeah, you're still sharing the screen.
Okay.
but it's all stuck. I think it's not moving.
Let me share it. Still, you are able to.
Yes, it's
I
still
already
visible.
paused sharing.
No, but we can see. Now it is gone. Now it is okay.
Yeah, host, can you please allow me to share my screen?
Yeah, sure, sir. Yes, sir. Can you make me co-host, please?
Am I the host?
Narasimha Kepuje.
Okay, so you have made me the host. I think that will be better. Now I can start.
Yeah, you are the host now. Can you make me co-host, please?
Okay. You are Narasimha K, right?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute.
And Mr. Utkarsh, can you please start recording from your side as well?
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Record to this computer, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. I'm not able to see any option here. It only shows make host.
Sir, go the name. There have two options. One for mute and more also.
Yes,
right?
more in the more, it is not showing me the option.
Okay. Okay, no problem, sir. Can continue. Just to take care of the recording.
Okay. Okay. So let us start. Is this board visible to all of you? Please confirm.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So before starting with Python, okay, before writing our first line of code, there are a few terms and terminologies and concepts that we need to understand about programming. Okay, like before starting the programming, we need to actually understand, or before writing the code, we need to understand what exactly programming is, okay, and how is it going to be useful for us. And we will also understand some properties of Python and why this is the best choice for data science. Okay, so we are going to keep this very interactive. We have a lot of participants, so I expect a lot of views and answers from yourself, right? So let us start. Before starting, let me also give you the flow how our classes are going to look like. So while we are in the Python learning phase, so you will simply be writing a lot of code. Okay, we will do a lot of whiteboarding. You will write a lot of code when we are solving questions or problems. So if all of you understand the problem or the question, it is fine. If not, then I may explain that with the help of whiteboarding and flow charts. When we move to conditional statements, iterative statements, those problems can be easily understood by preparing flow charts. We will be preparing a lot of flow charts, fine, but most of the time you will be simply using Jupyter. I will be writing code there, and you are also supposed to follow me. If you run into any errors, you can let me know. Fine, you can paste your error in the chat. It will be resolved. Fine, either Nikhil or me, I will resolve. If it is still not clear, then I may even ask you to share your screen and then have a look at it. Okay, and it is a 4-hour session, so we are going to have 2 breaks. Fine, 10 to 12 minutes in between. We will schedule that according to the topic. Okay, when we complete a part of the session, then we may take a break, maybe after 1.5 hours, and then another one after 1 hour. So there are going to be 2 breaks in between. Fine, and all of you are supposed to keep yourself on mute. When you ask something, fine, then you can unmute yourself. Otherwise, everybody else will be on mute. Fine. And always remember, once your question or your doubt has been resolved, you ask something, we had a discussion, I answered. So always remember to mute yourself. Okay, again. And video sharing, not required. We will only be sharing the screens. Fine. And also, when I ask questions such as, is this concept clear to all of you? Or is there any doubt? So you can let me know with a yes or no, either through the mic, or you can just write in the chat very quickly so that we can proceed. Okay. So I hope these a few simple things are clear to all of you. They are needed to smoothly conduct the sessions and also maintain the interactivity. Okay. So let us start with programming. Or let's also write program. So now I will ask all of you, I think if you have decided to join this, then you know at least a little bit about data science, Python, and the concept of programming. So can you all please share like what you understand by programming, what exactly it is, or what is a program?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, program is something that we instruct the computer to do something in particular manner. Like if we want to addition something, some two parameter, then we have to give the input. We have the operation. After that, we receive the output. Like it is a straight way to tell someone to do something in this particular manner.
Correct. And here that someone is
That is the our
computer.
computer.
Right.
Yes.
Correct. Any other answer? More views we have, better understanding we will build.
So it is a set of instructions to get some output.
Okay, correct. What is an instruction?
Instruction means flow path that we are giving.
A predefined set of code.
Yes. That is syntax and semantics according to the language.
Okay. Can we say instruction is something that performs an operation for us, and then we combine multiple operations and multiple instructions, we create a program?
You could also say program is a piece of code that achieves certain function, and programming is act of writing that code.
Correct. But how can we define an instruction?
For simplifying complicated instruction and get the exact output, we do programming instead of function operation perform using single code is also called program.
Okay. So let us start by defining a program. The program is a set of instructions Okay, a program is a set of instructions which performs a specific task. For example, let's say you want to create a very simple program to take two numbers as input and then simply output or print their sum to the user. So here you can say A is equals to input number 1, fine. B is equals to input number 2, and then we can simply say print A plus B, fine. So this whole thing is a program, fine, and these are instructions. Now the concept of instructions, when we are talking with this regard and when we are talking about the machine language, which we'll understand just in a bit, gets confusing. But for now, you can say these are the individual instructions, or better, we should call them statements. Fine. A program is a set of statements designed or which perform a specific task. Like this program is performing calculation. These individually are known as instructions, or also we can call them statements. Fine. And then they combine together, make up our program. And what is programming? Programming, we can define the act or the art of creating programs. So act of creating programs. Okay. Or a more general definition can be communicating with a computer. And how do we communicate? We communicate with a program, with a computer using programs, communicating or instructing a computer. Fine. So that's how we can define programming and program. What is a program? It is just a set of instructions or a set of statements designed to perform a specific task. We have this example. So we need to write a program which takes two numbers as input and just print their sum. So these, we have three statements here, and they together combined make up our program. What is programming? Act of creating programs, or simply communicating with a computer. Fine. So are programming and program clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, next topic is programming language. Now, again, up to you. The more definitions or the more, I can also say, views we have, the better we understand. We have people from different backgrounds. It's good if we get to know what they understand by a programming language. Please tell me, what do you understand by a programming language?
It is a language by which we communicate with computer, like high level language, low level language, and assembly language, and word and learn according to me.
Are all of you able to hear me properly?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, programming language is any set of rules that convert something into another format.
Okay. Veronica, please check on your side. I think everybody else can hear me fine. Maybe a network issue on your side. Okay, please continue.
Programming is a group of syntax to run. I think.
Okay. So for now, as a starting point, let us define programming as. Later, we will build upon this concept, what exactly it is. That's why here I have written communicating with a computer. Okay, so that this definition is connected with the previous one. So programming language in most general terms can be defined as a way of communication okay, easy to understand, like we humans are communicating now, and then English is our communication language. So same, programming is the art of communicating with a computer. And what is a programming language? It is a way of communication with a computer. Fine. Now there are a lot of other concepts related to it. I hope this definition is fine with all those who are completely new to programming, right? Just like English is the way of communication for us, a programming language is a way of communication with the computer. But now a lot of you are answering or talking in terms of compiler and interpreter. So I think it is also important to understand the multiple steps involved in that. So now my question to all of you is, does a computer understand a programming language directly?
No.
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 It need compiler and interpreter for translating.
0 to 1.
Computers
Correct.
only understand ones and zeros. That's all.
Correct.
0 to
On
1
and off.
code
On
is.
and off. That's all.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the computer does not understand a programming language at all. Okay. I mean, without any help. Fine. So what does a computer know?
Computer understand all
Commands.
commands.
Yeah, only binary. Zero and one. Binary.
Correct.
Hmm.
So a computer only understands zeros and ones. What do computers run on? They run on electricity,
Electricity.
right? So now you can only have two variations there, low and high. So to basically, it will be surprising and it is fascinating to know that today we are able to do a lot of things using computers, but at the lowest level, the computer only understands 0 and 1. And that is how we call it. The computer only understands low and high, or sometimes off and on. Low voltage equivalent to 0, high equivalent to 1. So at the lowest level, the computer only understands zeros and ones. Fine. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Now, as we are talking about compilers or interpreters, let us create a rough chart of the steps involved in that process. Okay, not a perfect and not a lengthy chart, but only a rough one. As a programmer, you are not supposed to understand all of this, but I think if we have a basic idea, it will be interesting. Fine. So computers only understand zeros and ones. Now, can you also tell me what is that device which helps you do that? Like the now computers are really huge, processors, motherboards, and all that. But what is the basic device which helps you implement this kind of 0-1 scenario?
ALU, arithmetic and logical.
ALU.
No, go even lower.
CPUs.
No, no,
Yes.
CPU is a much high level thing.
Much.
Something at transistor level.
Exactly.
Keyboard.
A transistor. So how many of you have heard this word transistor? Just tell me with a yes or no so that I can
Yeah, we have heard of.
right? Transistor. I think almost all of you. If you purchase, those who do not understand, so it is a like an electronic device, okay, which which from your circuits and your CPUs and all of that is made up of. Fine. So this is what helps us implement that 0 and 1 thing. Fine. 0 state and 1 state. Correct. So a transistor is the, you can say, the most low level device. When you buy smartphones, let's say you are buying a phone, you might have heard, okay, this processor or CPU has been built on 6 nanometer process. Okay, it has 10 billion transistors in this chip. You are purchasing that Apple iPhone 13 with A15 Bionic. So it is built on 5 nanometer or 4 nanometer process. Fine, it has maybe billions of transistors in your computers also. If you look for specifications, now this new processor has come up in the market. It is built on 6 nanometer process. It is built on 5 nanometer process, 7 nanometer process. Fine. So if not about the transistor, I hope you have heard those terms sometime, right? So there they are describing the width of the transistor. So you see how tiny device it is. So think about how much 4 nanometer is. Very small. So there they are talking about the transistors. Fine. This is the most atomic device or the device at the lowest level. Now we combine some transistors and then we form
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops are more designed for storage operations. Right? They are able to maintain a 0 state and then a lot of things. Next we have is logic gates. So have you ever heard about logic gates like AND gate, OR gate, or something like the Boolean
Yes,
algebra?
Yeah, we have done Boolean algebra, and also earlier it was all there.
Right. So you see a lot of other steps are involved in these processes, but we are not really in electronics people. So if you just understand the hierarchy, it is fine. Now in this process, like one answer was flip-flops. So it really goes into detail. This is what is studied, but we are not required to go into that much detail. We just understand the upper level process. So transistors combined form logic gates. So these logic gates are able to perform some logical operations. And by combining these logic gates, can you answer the next step according to this general hierarchy? By combining different logic gates, we can build logic gates and a lot of things.
Logic unit and arithmetic unit.
We
Okay.
make an arithmetic logic unit
Yeah.
or
Right, we can build these
Arithmetic and logical unit.
right. So as you see, there are different answers. So let me just write logic circuits. By combining some other components and using these logic gates in combination, we can constitute of circuits which perform some specific tasks. Now that when I write circuit, so it has everything. Okay, for storage, something can be meant for storage, something can be meant for performing calculations, okay, or handling the memory access, multiplexers and all. Right? Now, a lot of logic circuits combined, they constitute of a processing unit. So the first answer was that the lowest unit is a processor. Okay, now I'm not writing ALU or something, so let me write a processing unit. Now this processing unit can be anything that does a lot of tasks. Okay, not necessarily how you understand the CPU. It can be anything. But yes, if you want to understand it like that, then it's fine. So transistor, which help you represent 0 and 1 state. Combining them, you form logic gates. Then you form logic circuits, and combining circuits which perform a lot of operations, you perform processing units, which are very versatile. Okay. So processing units. So you may have seen 64-bit and 32-bit specifications, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
And if you have studied this, you may have also heard about 8-bit processors,
Yes.
right? Or 16-bit processors.
Yes.
So can you tell me what does that mean? 8-bit processor, 16-bit processor.
That is the instruction set, size of the instruction set it can process at a time.
Exactly. So that is the instruction set. And can you also tell me how those instructions look like?
MOV or MV, something
No,
like that.
that is the assembly language at the
Assembly
lowest
language.
level.
Okay, at 1010 combinations.
Exactly. So now you see computers only understand zeros and ones. We have transistors, we have logic gates, we have logic circuits. So these are the major parts. Okay. A lot goes between these. Then we have processing units. So now these processing units help you perform a lot of tasks. Okay. A circuit is something which does a particular something specific, and combining and creating combining a lot of them in a way you can constitute a processing unit. And then a processing unit is able to perform a lot of operations. So now you need some way to perform those operations. Okay. Like you need some way to specify what is the operation that I'm trying to perform. Correct? So there comes your instruction set. So these processing units are created and then they come with a manual or an instruction set. Okay. Like how can you make this unit perform an addition operation? How can you make this unit perform memory access operation? How can you make this unit perform a multiplication operation? Okay. How can you make this unit perform a shifting operation? Fine. So the processing units, they come with the instruction sets. Fine. And those instructions are, as you can guess, computers only understand zeros and ones. So they are sequences of zeros and ones. Fine. For example, let's say we have an 8-bit processor, 8-bit unit. So here this 8-bit specifies the instruction length. So now instructions for this processor will look something like this. Let's say you want to add something. I'm just writing an example. It is not exactly. I'm just trying to explain. This is how it looks like. So for addition, you may have a sequence of 8 bits like this. Okay. Maybe for subtraction, you have a sequence of bits like this. Fine. Let's say for moving or memory swapping, let's say there is some memory operation, MEM. For that, you can have an instruction like this. So this is what the computers understand. This is known as, can you tell me what do we call this?
Assembly language.
This is known as machine language. Okay. What exactly your machine understands? Machine language or binary language? Fine. Transistors, logic gates, logic circuits, processing units. So you need some way to communicate with that unit. You need some way to tell that unit, okay, this is the operation I want to perform, or this is I want you to do. So there it comes with an instruction set. Okay, instruction set. So using the particular instruction, you can make that unit perform an operation for you. And those instructions are nothing but long sequences of zeros and ones. If sorry, if there is a 16-bit processor, so the instruction length will have 16 total bits. Okay, as the length will be 16. Like here we have 8, there it will be 16. If it is 32, 32, just like that. So we started with very small processors, and now you can understand where we are. So is everything clear till now? The purpose of this discussion was only to help you understand that computers do not really know the programming languages either directly. They only understand machine language or binary language. And this is what the binary or machine language is. Okay, that's what the computers understand. Bit is the smallest unit. So this is what we call a bit. 0 and 1, something which can hold 0 and 1. Okay, bit, bytes. So 8-bit instruction is similar to saying 1 byte instruction. I think that all of you know what is a bit and how many bits are there in a byte, how many bytes are there in a kilobyte, right? So if you understand this, first answer, is the concept of machine language clear to all of you? Any doubt about whatever we have discussed till now? Okay. So you're not at all supposed to know what is happening in this phase. That is not for programmers. Fine. You just need to know what is a machine language. And as a data scientist, even that is not required. But still, if you have a basic idea, it always helps. Fine. Right. So now we have a problem. Okay. So there's a person who wants to perform some tasks using the machine. Fine. Now, the problem is using these long instructions a good way to communicate? Imagine if I tell you to write a program and then you are only allowed to use, I present to you some very early age processing unit and I tell you, okay, you have to write a program on this. So how will you feel? It will be complicated, right?
Lost.
Right? You will definitely feel lost. You will feel confused. There is no way you can remember all of this. You will have to look at the manual again and again. So it is impossible to deal with that. So to solve that issue, we came up with a solution. Can you tell me, the people who have done programming, can you tell me what that solution was?
Mnemonics.
Exactly. What do we call that language with mnemonics?
Assembly language or low level language.
Correct. Assembly language. Fine. So then the solution to that problem was assembly language. What exactly is assembly language? So in an assembly language, it is also known as low level language. Okay. So in an assembly language, what we do, we just give a mnemonic to our instruction. Okay. Let's say there's a long sequence of these bits for performing addition. There's an instruction for performing addition. We represent it with a mnemonic add. Okay. For moving some data here and there, we represent with a mnemonic move. Fine. and then some other operations, let's say to perform AND operation, we represent it with a mnemonic AND. Okay, let's say there's a mnemonic for subtraction also. Fine. So we represent everything with the help of a mnemonic. Now it becomes easier. So we will just perform or represent our operations in terms of these mnemonics. Now it will be up to their processing unit to understand, okay, if the programmer or the user is saying add, then I have to use this particular instruction and then perform the required operation. That is your assembly language. We are just representing these long, confusing binary sequences of zeros and ones which perform a specific operation with the help of some mnemonics. Is assembly language also clear? Then we have a problem again. Okay, still this is not really a good way to communicate. Okay, there isn't a lot that we can do with these mnemonics, especially when your instruction sets become larger. It's definitely very hard to keep track of these and combine a lot of these to perform your operations. When your complexity or your operations and or your programs become larger, so then it becomes very tedious to keep track of them. We need something which is more closer to how we communicate with each other. Okay, we need something similar to that, which has a lot of versatility and where we are not required to basically deal with the complexity that comes with writing these mnemonics. Fine. So now can you guess what is the solution for that? Anyone?
High-level languages.
Exactly. Then we have high level languages, or then we have programming languages. Okay, so you see where we started: zeros and ones, transistors, logic gates, logic circuits, processing units, instruction sets. Okay, problem, can't deal with this. Okay, deal with assembly language. Can't deal with this either. Okay, deal with programming languages. Fine. So this is the hierarchy. Now, any doubts till now? If you are curious about something, you can definitely ask. No doubts? Everything clear? Okay. So you can, if you this phase was not clear, so you can completely forget about this. But remember at least this one. What is a machine language? Okay, from here, what is machine language? What is assembly language? And what is programming language? So now I think this discussion will also help you understand that computers do not really understand programming languages directly. There are multiple phases. Okay. So now we need to understand a very important concept of compilers and interpreters. So if I just write the definitions, it will be tricky for those who are learning it for the first time. So let's take an example. What is our goal? Our goal is to communicate with the computer. Communicate isn't really, or you can say we want to make the computer do something for us. So in order to accomplish that, we need to communicate with the computer. Fine. So we need to bridge that gap. Okay, so there's this computer, and here we have a human. So this computer only understands machine language, okay, directly. And this human understands natural language. Okay, so let's take one of them as English. Fine. Now the problem is there is this huge gap. Neither this computer can understand English directly, nor this human can deal with the machine language directly. So there is this communication gap. Okay, we need to bridge this communication gap so that we can use or utilize computers to do a lot of tasks. Fine. So how do we bridge this gap? That is the problem. The computer cannot understand this language directly. Neither this person can understand the machine language directly. So how do we bridge this gap? Any solutions?
We need some form of translator.
Before the translator, yes, please continue.
By converting human language to machine language.
Okay, by converting this English language to machine language. Okay, perfect solution. Any other answer? Okay, let's proceed based on this one only. So when this problem was being realized by the researchers and scientists, so this solution must have definitely struck their mind. Okay, why not we have some way to convert the English language to the machine language so that the programming or the art of programming becomes accessible to almost everybody, and then we can do a lot of things using the computer. Then there are a lot of difficulties. You see, English or any natural language is ambiguous. It is not strict or rule based. Similar words carry different meanings. Similar statements according to situations can carry different meaning. And then we have the phrases or which you write something and then it means something else. Okay. Then you have complex grammar, which also changes according to situations. Okay, whether you're talking about past, present, or something, which also changes based on the sentiment also. Which word do you use? There are multiple words which carry the same meaning. So what we are trying to say is a language is ambiguous. Fine. It is not properly, English is not properly structured so that you can write something which converts English language to machine language. Okay, so not possible. That solution is not possible. But still we need to make the art of programming easier for this human. Fine. So we cannot convert English directly to machine language, but we can think about another language which is closer to English, okay, and not really like a machine language. So that's where your programming language comes in. Fine. I agree with you. The answer was correct. And this solution might have come to the researchers also, that if we are trying to solve this problem, if we are facing this huge issue that machine language isn't really the goal here, like we cannot really program using machine language and we cannot really create huge applications, or there is no way forward using the machine language. So we need something which allows humans to write the programs or makes it accessible to everybody. Then maybe they thought about converting English to this, but it is ambiguous, so that is not possible. Now we have a middle ground. Fine. And that middle ground is programming language. Fine. So now they both agree. Let's say this computer agrees and this human also agrees. So we both need to communicate. So we need to do something. I will take a step. I will learn a programming language. Okay, this is our middle ground. And you also take a step. And instead of dealing with machine language, you deal with a programming language. So this human says, okay, I will give you instructions in a programming language. And now it is up to you to deal with that. I have taken a step. You also take a step. Fine. So now this human has taken a step. This human has learned this programming language. So what do we call a human who has learned a programming language?
Programmer.
Okay. So we call it a programmer. So this human has learned this programming language and now he is called a programmer. Fine. So he has taken his step. Now he is giving instructions in programming language. Let me just write PL. Okay, this is a programmer. And now it is up to this computer to deal with the programming language. It still understands the machine language. Okay, here this ML is not machine learning, it is machine language. So now it is up to this computer to understand this programming language. So now what is the solution for that? The solution for that is a translator. The computer will use a translator which will take instructions or code written in a programming language and convert it into a form which the computer understands. So this translator will be inside the computer. So it is similar to saying that, okay, now the computer is doing his part. The programmer has done, the human has done his part. He has learned the programming language. Now he becomes a programmer. Fine. So now it is up to this computer to do his part. Fine. So now we need to talk about this translator. So is everything till now clear to all of you? Are you understanding this complete process?
Yes.
Especially those who are new to programming. Okay, great. So now what exactly is this translator? So like I said, it is up to the computer to take this step and do his part. Like this computer needs to come here. So the human has taken his step that, okay, in order for us to communicate, I will do my part and I will learn a programming language. So this computer, okay, now I will deal with the programming language. How I will deal with it? I will have a translator software or program with myself, which will take the instructions from you and it will convert those instructions into the language, the machine language that I understand, right? So now let's talk about this translator. So that's how we have bridged the communication gap between a computer and a programmer. Fine. Now let us focus on this translator. So based on how this translator converts the code written by the programmer into something that the computer understands, we have two classifications. Can you guess?
Compiler and interpreter.
Interpreter and compiler.
Exactly. So based on the way the goal is same, whether we talk about a compiler, sorry, either we talk about a compiler or a interpreter, the task of the both is same. They just convert the code written in programming language to something the computer understands. Fine. It is just we have this distinction just based on how they do that. What they are doing is same, but the classification is based on how they are doing it. So we have compiler and we have interpreter. Right? So let us try to understand how they are different. Let's say there is this some code written. Okay, simple 5 lines of code is there. Now, can you tell me the difference between a compiler and an interpreter?
Interpreter interpreted by line, and compiler completely.
Okay, perfect. So that's the difference. Their goal is same. They want to convert the code into something that the computer understands. Okay, now this also has a lot of intermediate steps, but again, we as data scientists are not supposed to go into that depth. So we just say the translator simply takes the code in programming language and converts it into something that the computer understands. Fine. So how they are different? This interpreter will do it one line at a time. Take this and convert it into something the computer understands. That's how the interpreter works, line by line. This one does it the whole code at a time. Let me just simply write all at once. Fine. So if you have a code, then an interpreter will do this conversion line by line, and then a compiler will simply take all of that and it will convert that into all at once. Right? Now let's also try to understand some pros and cons of each of these. So this is the first one, how they work. Now let's also try to understand some pros and cons. So let me ask you, and I want all of you to participate, okay? If it is not the case, if someone has answered and others cannot, you are also supposed to share your view. First criteria is speed. So which process will be faster?
Interpreter.
Compiler.
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 More answers?
Interpreter is
Compiler.
faster.
Interpreter.
More?
Interpreter.
Interpreter.
Okay, please give a few statements in support of your answer. Someone who said interpreter, tell me why. Someone who said compiler, also tell me why. Why interpreter?
So basically, interpreter directly start giving the output, and when it face any
No,
error,
here we are not talking about giving output or processing or something. We are just talking about conversion. Now, after converting, that
interpreter
computer will process
is-
that and do the tasks. So
Okay.
interpreter is not really doing the task. It is just converting. Do not
as-
judge this based on the task. It will
Compiler
convert
can
into.
start its work only after all the lines are converted, and interpreter starts like with one single line. So yeah, it will do its work. It will do its work. It will work faster.
No, you will still write your code as a whole and then give those. You have written your code. Now you have given that code for the translation. Okay, that means you have clicked on the execute button. So now it is not the case that you will give line and then no, you have written your code. Assume you have written your code, which is of 5 lines. So now you have given that code to the interpreter and to the compiler. And do not also judge it based on the task being done, because they are just converting. The task will eventually be done by your machine after it has been converted to the machine language.
Okay.
Then the machine will
So
come into action.
basically, whenever compiler compiles, the that involves some intermediary code which is required to pass on to. So there is a lot of IO involved in that process. So compiler is quite slower compared to interpreter.
So are you saying there are no intermediate steps in interpreter?
No, there are, but compiler generally creates one intermediate code file. If it is a C language, it will create .obj. For Java, it will create a bytecode. So another set of file is required to.
What if I tell you there are even more steps in interpreter?
I think compiler is faster because compiler analyzes and converts all the thing at once, whereas interpreter has to do the same thing again and again and again.
Right. So let me explain this. This discussion is going north. So you are not supposed to judge them based on intermediate steps and what is the complexity of the program you're writing. Okay, because that is common. That is common. You just need to understand it by the fact. Let's say you have 5 objects and you need to carry them from one place to the other. So which one will be faster? If you are carrying them all at once, or if you are carrying them one by one. You just need to judge that. You just need to judge it based on that. That's it. So compiler is faster, or languages which are compiled are faster. Languages which use this mechanism are not a little bit, a lot faster. Compiled languages are faster. Fine. Interpreted languages are a little bit slower. Fine. Now let's talk about complexity of writing code and readability. Can you take a guess?
Both should be same ideally in terms of readability.
No, there is a difference. Generally, compiled languages are lengthy, like you need more lines of code to do that. Even to perform very simple tasks such as adding 2 numbers, you have to do a lot of things. Okay, more lines of code. Generally, here, interpreted languages generally have less lines of code. These languages are generally a little bit less readable. These languages are more readable or better at readability. Fine. Why both these terms? Because here every line makes sense. If I have to perform addition, then I will do it. Here every line makes sense. Like you write one line of code, it will definitely do something. Here that is not the case. Let me show you an example. So I take an example of a compiled language. Fine. I'm taking example of a compiled language, a general compiled language. Now I'm not talking about exceptions. Maybe there is a compiled language which looks like an interpreter language, but that is very slow, and then it implements readability. No, I'm talking about common compiled languages like C, C++, C#, Java. Let me first write a few examples. C, C++, C#, Java. Okay, here let us just write one example which we should be concerned with, Python. Right? So if you write a code for adding 2 numbers in Java, then it will look something like this. Okay. You first need to import some libraries. Done. Then you need to create a class. Fine. Then you need to create a main method. Fine. Then you have to declare your variables. Okay. You have to do something like int a and b. You have to declare it. Correct. Then you have to take the input. Now taking input is another tedious task. There's a very long statement to take the input. Done. And then you write your statement like system, it looks something like this. System.out. I used Java almost 3-4 years ago, so I'm not remember exactly, but this is how it looks like. System.out.print, and then you write your a plus b. So this is how a program for addition, and then you close all of them like this. That's how a program for adding two numbers in a compiled language will look. In Python, a is equals to input number 1, that is even not mandatory. B is equals to input number 2, and simply print a plus b. That's it. Done. If you have the numbers already, you're not even required to use print. You can simply write a plus b and you will get the answer. Okay. So generally, interpreted languages, and especially let's talk about Python. So it is much more readable and easy to use than your compiled alternatives. Okay, so compare this piece of code and this piece of code. And then these lines even look much more complicated. I hope this example was helpful. And then the discussion. Okay, so this was just to explain why more lines of code and why less readable. Fine, and here I hope by this example you understand less lines of code and more readable. Fine, and then there are a lot of tasks which are more complex to do in a compiled language than an interpreted language, because here each statement makes sense. Here that is not the case. Then which one will be easy to debug? Let's say you get an error. So debugging is the art of correcting errors or finding errors. So according to you, which one will be easier to debug? Compiled or interpreted?
Compiled one.
Compiler, sir.
Compiled one is a difficult one. Interpreter will be easier one because it's line by line.
Exactly. So difficult. Okay, difficult. Now I'm writing these words comparatively. Difficult. Now there might be some language, compiled language, where this process is easy. I'm saying comparatively, like difficult to debug than a interpreted language. Difficult to debug, easier to debug. Okay. So these are some of the properties of compiled languages and interpreted languages. Why we did that? Because our Python is an interpreted language. So we must understand what is a compiler and interpreter. As I was also getting a lot of answers with respect to this, so we also, to build some interest, we also discussed this hierarchy. Okay, general hierarchy, not very precise, to clear the concepts.
Python is comparatively slower than C# and Java, etc.
Yes, a lot slower. So here this is a trade-off. It is a trade-off between ease of use, readability, and speed of execution. So yes, Python is slower, but that is compensated by the powerful hardware we have nowadays. Slower, it is a difference of microseconds, nanoseconds. So we will not be able to observe that. Let's say some piece of code is taking 10 microseconds here, so it may take 100 or 1000, but still you will not be able to observe that. Nowadays, the maintenance of the software project, people from software industry will understand, maintenance is a huge pain, right? Code maintenance and readability. Okay, the time taken for completing the project. Okay, design. So these are the benefits that you get from a language like Python. Okay. And then that slower part is basically something, it has something to deal with the computer, not really the programmers. So we have powerful hardware, so they will do it. Yes, there are some applications where the speed is of paramount importance, right? Speed and accuracy. Then these languages are used.
Okay.
It is totally up to the application or the choice. For data science, we use Python. Okay, that I will come to later. Like, why is Python the best choice for data science?
Okay.
So these are some of the properties and differences between compiler and compiled languages, interpreter and interpreter languages. So is everything clear till now? If you're not understanding anything or something is getting confusing, especially for those who have never heard about like who are new to programming, then you can let me know. Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's try to answer a question. Why Python for data science? Right? Why Python for data science? Why not any other language? So there can be multiple points, but let's try to understand with a very simple statement, the ecosystem. Okay, so this answers everything. So what do we mean by this ecosystem here? Now I can write a lot of statements that it is more readable, it is easy to use for people who have background in mathematics. So you're not required to be a computer science student to learn and write code in Python. It has good libraries. Okay, it has very good frameworks for implementing data science, for visualization, for analysis. It has a lot of libraries. It is being used. Sorry, it is being used for years, so the support is huge, dependency is huge. Fine. If you run into any problems, then maybe there are thousands of other people doing the same thing, so you can basically get your answers very quickly. If you run into any problem, so you will definitely find a solution on the internet. Fine. So all of that, the documentation is available for everything. So all of that can be answered or can be represented by a single word: ecosystem. The Python ecosystem for data science is really huge. Like, there is no competition, not at all. I can't say about the future. Maybe someone is trying to create that same thing for language. Julia is a good competitor I see in future. But currently, Python is your best choice. I wouldn't be wrong if I say only, like only choice. R is there, so that is good for some statistical analysis. But when it comes to scaling your applications and deploying them, okay, or industry use case, then Python is the only choice. You have frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, and then a lot of other third-party tools which help you do data science in Python. So why Python for data science? So the Python ecosystem for data science is better than every other language. And I just explained what exactly do we mean by this ecosystem. Fine. Okay. So now let us write a few properties about Python. What exactly is Python? Like some of the main advantages of using Python, pros and cons. So it is easy to learn. It is almost English-like, more readable and better structured, easy to maintain, and object-oriented. Now this we will discuss later, okay? For now, you can ignore this. Object-oriented, Okay, so these are some of the pros. And then for data science, there are a lot of libraries available. Dynamically typed. This I will explain when we start programming. What does this mean? Okay, the only con is slower, but that is not a programmer's headache. We have hardware powerful enough which will reduce the difference for you or make the difference unnoticeable. And we have the frameworks that we have, they are created in such a way that the background processing is somehow happening at a like C-like speed. Okay, and then the interface or the programs you are writing or how you are writing your code is in Python. So that is also there. So speed isn't an issue anymore. And then it has, you see, when you talk about R, then it is as only meant for statistical analysis or MATLAB. Some people use MATLAB also. So with Python, you can do a lot of other things also. So that is also an added advantage. Apart from data science, R is not like a fully fledged language. Python is. So you can create GUIs, graphical user interfaces. Okay, it is used for scripting also. You can use it for scripting. You can create apps. You can create websites. So you can do everything with Python. That's why also it is a better choice. And then the only con is slower comparatively. Okay. So here we finish our discussion of what is a programming language, why, what is a program, and how it is not the case that the computers do not understand a programming language directly. What does this bridging or this solution looks like? And then what is important for us is to understand what is a compiler, what is an interpreter, what are the main differences. Fine, because Python is an interpreted language, so we need to know the pros and cons, and then why Python is best for data science, and some points about Python. Fine, so object oriented, this we will discuss much later, right? Dynamically typed we will do when we start our writing the code. So now take 2 to 3 minutes, maybe try to recall everything, and then see if you have any doubts about a particular concept. Because we have finished this discussion of programming, now we will actually start writing some code. Yes, I will save this. I will definitely share this with you. No doubts at all? Was this discussion helpful for all of you to understand programming?
Yes.
Okay, great. So after this, we will just move to the Jupyter environment and we will start writing some code. Okay, like we will start from absolute basics, and slowly as we keep on learning new and new concepts, we will start creating more and more programs or better programs and start solving more and more problems. So 1.5 hours, so let's take a break of 12 to 15 minutes, and then we will be back and we will start writing some code. Okay, you are not supposed to leave the meeting. Stay connected, like be in the meeting, and you can do otherwise whatever you want. Those who are still not able to get the Jupyter environment running, maybe they can resolve the issues. Nikhil, are you present here?
Utkarsh, Nikhil is there on the line, but let me call him quickly.
Okay.
Utkarsh, may I ask one question?
Sure.
Yeah, just for a general knowledge. I mean, out of curiosity, I'm asking this. So nowadays we see lots of the things like artificial intelligence and these things. So I mean, in the robots as well as we are seeing so many things in the market. So this is come out of the codes that we are going to learn, right? I mean, with the data science things as well, right? I mean, how we are correlating that with the probability things and the regression things.
No, you
Just
see,
as a layman, I mean,
yes, yes.
I know that maybe.
Robotics is something different. Like that involves a lot of other aspects like mechatronics and maybe mechanical. That is a totally different field.
Okay.
The data science we are learning here is with respect to solving business problems. But yes, the deep learning that you learn here, you can implement those solutions like image recognition or speech recognition, okay, in a lot of places. But the data science we are learning is with the target of solving business problems or problems related to computer science field, right?
Okay.
Robotics becomes something away from our path.
Okay. Because what I heard is I don't have much knowledge on that, but what I heard is that they are also using some statistics there. They are using probabilities and regression to get that
Yes,
out.
artificial intelligence is all
Yeah.
about logic and mathematics. So definitely the concepts will be there.
Okay.
Not statistics, not directly, but yes, logic and maths is always there.
Okay.
Krish, may I know you were calling me?
Yes, so we are taking a break.
Okay.
So I hope you are available within that time. So after this, we are supposed to start programming, okay, in the Jupyter environment. So if anyone is facing issues, you can help them get started with that Jupyter environment. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure. No problem.
Okay.
Look, sir, I do have a similar thing to ask.
Yes, please.
Being a .NET developer, we also provide these business solutions like in web development or Windows application development. how the data science program is different and why it is trending nowadays?
No, creating a website for a business that can be done in a lot of, you have a lot of options for that.
Uh-huh.
Now that is different than using data to enhance business solutions. Totally different. Like websites you can create using JavaScript, you can .NET. So
Yes.
when I said business solutions, I'm not saying those type of solutions,
Okay.
right? Rather solutions which are powered by data. Okay, maybe implementing deep learning in your application or machine learning or using data to enhance. So that we didn't discuss because I assumed all of you have taken that introductory session we had, or at least seen the recording.
Mhm.
That's why I started with programming. I am assuming that you already know how data science and machine learning are being used and are important for all of that.
I do know the difference, but I just wanted to ask. Nowadays, it is trending, and everyone is trying to switch from say Java development to data science, from commercial to data science. Why is that?
Because everybody is realizing the importance of data and what can be done with data. Fine, whether you're talking about analytics or whether you are talking about some applications with respect to deep learning and machine learning. So all of them require data. So as the data is so important, that's why we have to deal with analyzing the data, cleaning the data, processing the data, okay, storage and management, fine visualization. So a lot of these tools and concepts are studied with respect to data, and that's what we call data science. So data powers a lot of applications. Data is really useful. You might have our data is a new gold. So we have this whole science around data which deals with multiple aspects. That's why it is so important.
Okay.
Yes,
Deepak
so
here. I have just one question uh, regarding basic of R and Python. What is the percentage for this course we have for machine learning and AI? So, like, do we have like by when it will start and how much weightage we will have for machine learning and AI?
you're talking about machine learning and deep learning and AI, or Python versus R?
Uh, Machine learning, deep learning, and AI part, that topics.
Okay, so we have 5 modules. This first one is Python programming. So here we learn programming and Python. So once you know programming, then switching to other languages is really easier for you. So this module we are going to cover programming in Python. Fine. Next module is about data analysis and statistics. So there we will study differential statistics, inferential statistics, and data analysis using Python libraries. Okay, probability also, and SQL also with in this Python module. After that, we have our machine learning module. Fine. So which is going to take a lot of time, probably the biggest. Then we have a deep learning module, which is also of equal weight. So you can say 20 to 25 hours for Python. Okay. 4 to 5 sessions for Python, 5 to 6 sessions for our data analysis and statistics. Let's say 6 sessions. And then for machine learning and deep learning, both 7 to 8 sessions. So your highest weightage is given to those, machine learning and deep learning. And then R, so we will learn the whole thing using Python. The concepts you will learn using Python. And then in the end, there's a R module. So there you will see, because you have already learned the maths behind everything, there you will just see that how can you do the same thing using R. That's it. Is it what you are asking?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now let us start our break. So we'll meet again at, let's say, 11. Now there might be time differences for some of you. So let's just meet again after 15 minutes. And Nikhil, also see if they have any doubts regarding some options in the Jupyter. Okay.
Yeah,
Ayan,
yeah, sure.
you can ask this doubt to Nikhil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello,
Yes, please go ahead.
Nikhil, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here only. Please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I just want to set up the that application.
Yeah.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, please share.
Host disable participant screen sharing.
I think Utkarsh, you have the participant, right?
Nikhil,
Hello.
let me check with my team.
Yeah, I will do it. So,
Yeah.
who want to share the screen? Nikhil, right?
Sai,
No,
Sai.
you can enable to everybody now.
Yes, sure. Mr. Nikhil, you can share the screen now.
It's okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So, please share the screen now.
Mr. Nikhil, you can do it now.
I don't want to share the screen. I think it was Sai Prasad who wanted to share this.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, Sai Prasad.
yeah,
Okay, right.
Sai,
right.
you
Yeah.
have to make him the
Right.
present.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikhil.
No worries, no worries.
Yes, sir. You can start.
Are you able to see my
Yes,
screen?
yes, it is visible.
So I just installed this one, means Anaconda.
Okay, you can search for
Python.
Anaconda.
This one, right?
This is
Spider.
Spider. That's another ID. So we are not using Spider as of now. We
Okay.
decided to go with the Jupyter notebook. Yeah. Yeah. Just wait. It will open up. And now you have to select the program, your default browser. And once
Can
you
I go
select,
through the Google?
yeah, you can open, and yeah, this has to be selected. Always use pop-up for HTML files, or whichever way you want. But if you select always, then it will directly open, or
Yes,
else it
yes.
will keep asking you this pop-up message again and again. So it
Okay.
totally depends on you how you
So
want.
can I go through the Google Chrome or Internet Explorer?
You can go with the Google Chrome. It will be better.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, so I think it's there, and now you have the desktop there. Yeah. Click on the desktop, and then this is your desktop. So these three things were there in your desktop. Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now you have to create a folder as decided yesterday. So you can create some folders on the
So
desktop.
this is the desktop utility.
So now you can
So
create the folders there. You can create it from here, but I would suggest you create it from there. But if you want to create from here, on the right side, you have this new option, new. on the right, yeah, new, and then you'll go folder, and new folder, untitled folder will be created. Check on that folder, click on that the checkbox on that folder.
Okay.
Yeah, and once you click on the top, you have three options. Left side, you have three options enabled. It's called rename, move, and delete. So now you can
Yeah.
rename the folder, move, or delete. So and now
Okay.
you rename that folder as StarAgile or something. Let's say StarAgile because we are doing that course. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you rename it, and that's how you create and structure the folder in Jupyter Notebook. But you can do it on Windows GUI, so you can do it directly here, and you can go
Okay.
inside the StarAgile and create another 2 folders, which you can do from the GUI because it will take a little bit time here.
Can I create here another folder?
Yeah.
Nikhil, what is this running and clusters tab?
Wait, I have to check once. Okay, let's click on those. Let's check that. But
in running, I was able to see the notebook that is being executed that was shown.
Okay.
I am quite curious about the clusters.
Okay. Okay, I will check about the clusters, but in the running, I think it's just the terminals and notebook which you are running, and the clusters I will check and tell you. But what I feel is it is still regarding, usually we use clusters when you have different sort of programs running parallelly, and say you have created an app, for example, and you have deployed it on the production. Okay. And that app is being used by numerous people at the same time. So at that point of time, the clusters come into picture, I believe. So that's what I understand from the clusters, but I will check more detailed things on it, and will get you a concrete answer for this. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. So Sai Prasad, are we renaming
Yeah.
this folder or something?
Yeah.
Okay. You can rename it as my notebook. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have another folder which you can, yeah, name it as shared notebooks.
Yeah, that's it.
Anything else you need, Sai Prasad?
No, nothing. That's
Okay.
it.
That's it. Yeah. And also remember, when this terminal is running, then only that notebook will be displayed and be working. So if you close this notebook, this web browser GUI will go completely. Yeah. So you can try it out. Just press Ctrl+C here. Ctrl+C.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that notebook is closed, and now if you try to do something here, it won't happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what
Fine.
I just wanted to prove it. Okay.
Okay. And what about that Python? Is I have to make changes on the anything?
On changes on what?
Means I downloaded means Python, right? Means so
You downloaded Jupyter Notebook, correct? I mean, this
yeah.
Anaconda, you downloaded Anaconda and you set up
Yeah.
the Python, and that's it. But now if you do anything, it won't work because you have closed the terminal. So you'll have to open the terminal again. And then you can, for creating the Python notebook, Python IPy Python notebook, it's very simple, new, and this Python 3, correct? So that,
Yeah.
that I
So
think
if I want to create means Python notebook, so what can I do for that one?
same, go to new, but you'll have to start this is name. Yeah. So you'll have to start with this. First, go in search bar. Yeah. And then Jupyter Notebook again.
Okay.
Yeah, because the terminal is closed. If this is closed, then that won't work. So now it will open another one. You can close the previous one.
Okay.
Okay. So go to desktop. Yeah. StarAgile,
StarAgile.
My Notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can go to new on the right side. Yeah, new.
No.
And then you go this Python 3 IPYNB kernel. So this is nothing but IPython kernel. Okay. So
Okay.
usually they call kernel as notebook. Even Kaggle, the name for the notebook is kernel. They don't
Okay.
use this name. So
Yeah,
that's why you
that.
see kernel many times.
Yeah, this is what I want to see.
Okay, so this is
Yesterday.
there, and then just press print. Okay, whatever 2+3 and shift.
Yeah.
This will give you false or some error because this is not a valid statement. Okay, next you can do something. Okay, press shift plus enter.
Okay.
Shift enter. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
your output, correct? So it's working
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Thank you so much.
No problem. You can stop sharing the screen, and if
Yeah. Sure.
anybody else has some doubts on the notebooks, can you let me know, please?
Yeah. Sure. No problem.
Yes, sir. Akshay Rane
Thank
here.
you so much.
Yes, Akshay, please go ahead.
Yesterday I was absent. I was there for till the installation of that Anaconda, and I was on at my workplace. I
No problem.
installed all the things over there.
Okay.
Right now I have installed Anaconda 3, but I am unable to see that Jupyter notebook.
Okay, can you share the screen? We'll see what is the problem.
Okay, make you host, Akshay.
Yeah, you have to make him
Yes.
host, Narsimha, please.
Akshay, yeah, done. Sir. You can share, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, are you able to see?
Yes, it is visible.
Here it is Anaconda 3. If I click
Um,
on that, there I am not getting Jupyter. Actually, I was absent for later on session
no,
yesterday.
not an issue. Can you go to the search bar, please?
Okay.
And type Jupyter Notebook. I think you have shared only one part of the screen because I can't see the.
Just a second, sir.
Yeah. There will be this screen one or something, that option which which shares everything.
Screen.
Yeah, yeah. That I think shares everything. Yeah. So you can try that.
Now it is visible, sir.
Yes, now it is okay. So you can search now, please.
Will you please spell out?
JU
PY.
Yes, yes. Space notebook. Enter. So I think you have just downloaded it. Did you install the? Did you install it?
I installed Anaconda 3 only, sir.
Okay. Can you search for Anaconda then?
Just a second.
In this only you can search. Yeah. No, I think it's not installed properly, or maybe. So may I know where?
Install it.
Yeah, where did you install it?
Okay. Okay, I will try again, sir.
No, it's okay. We can do it together. Can you tell me the address of this Anaconda 3, the folder? Can you click on this address bar? Yeah, not
Should I
here.
click over here?
Not
Sir,
here. On
sir,
the
sir, here there is uninstall is there. Can you uninstall? Then I installed the 64-bit proper version.
Yeah. Okay, but I think if once we can just have a
No,
look.
no, don't delete, sir. It has to be uninstalled. Go to that folder. Inside there is
Second time I am
uninstall.
installing it. Already it was there, but I am doing
Oh,
this again.
wait. Now you're installing it again.
Yes.
Okay, so this is actually installing. This is not installed as of now. That's why it's not showing anywhere.
In morning itself, it was installed, sir. I clicked there yesterday's whatever instruction were given by
Yeah.
Utkarsh, sir. I think I completed all that.
Okay, but so why are you installing it again? Because when you install it again in the
Because it
same
was not
location.
working. I was unable to see Jupyter notebook over there. During today's session, I tried it, but I was not getting. That's why I'm reinstalling it.
No problem, no problem. So what we can do is let this one finish, okay, and then we'll try again. So once this is finished, just shout out, and then we'll just do it again. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Don't worry, we'll set it up.
Okay, sir.
May I know which version of Windows you're using?
Windows 8, sir.
Windows 8 you're using,
Yes.
and you downloaded it from the Anaconda website, is it?
I downloaded it from Anaconda website yesterday, and I took that folder in my pen drive, and then I'm installing it.
All right. So what I believe is sometimes the same issue what was happening yesterday, but that was showing some error while installing. You didn't get any error when you installed it, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I didn't
So
got it.
let it install now, and we'll see what is the issue later on. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else who has the issue with the installation or something?
Sir, if it is not installed within next 5 to 10 minutes, then I will not be able to complete whatever park sir is going to deliver. No?
No, don't worry. It will complete. It's okay. Even if it's not complete, you can connect with me. I'll guide you whatever has been has happened here. So I will guide you personally. Don't worry if you miss out something. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Sai Prasad, I think somebody messaged 32799, so it's installed already.
Okay, Nikhil, all problems solved. Can we start now?
Yes, looks like nobody else have the doubt as of now. Only Akshay is remaining.
I think Preeti is raising the hand.
Okay, yeah, Preeti, please go ahead.
No, sir, I have no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Utkarsh, I don't think anyone has any problem except for Akshay who's installing it. So even if he misses out on something, I can tell him what actually happened in the class.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so I think all of you are ready, and now we shall start.
Utkarsh, I'm sorry to stop you. Just give me a minute. I am just putting the WhatsApp link on the chat so that everybody can join that chat group.
Okay, sure.
Just give me 2 minutes. I'm just getting that.
Okay.
Utkarsh, just this is Lakshmikant here.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Just let me know if you are taking up any face-to-face sessions at EY, because I'm trying. I'll be connecting with LNG, but just in case if you are already aware of anything that is scheduled, please let me know.
Sure. Those are like workshop. I think here you will get a much better experience, detailed.
And there, for me, that is additional to this.
Okay.
Right. So guys, I am just putting the WhatsApp group into the link. All you have to do is just click onto that link and join the group. Can you just see? Is everyone able to join?
Yes, I could join from this link. Thank you.
Okay. So we will also send an email by end of the session, right? And also we will be sharing you the drive for you to access the recorded sessions. So that is something that you can actually do, right? All right, Nikhil, if anybody has got any constraint in terms of installing the application or anything as such, you can actually I will share you the Zoom credentials for you so that you could get them on call and help them out.
Yeah, sure. That will be very good. I think only Akshay is remaining to install it properly. So
Okay.
let it continue. I spoke to on the call only now that if
And
he cannot do it, then I will connect with him personally and help.
all right, and everybody will get a Zoom link. I mean the drive link, so that you can access the recordings of yesterday, and today's recording will be uploaded by end of day today. Okay. All right. Thanks, Utkarsh.
Okay. So I hope all of you have joined the group and we can start. Okay, before starting, I would like to ask a question. So it is important for us. Now I got this based on the doubt. So the question was that how is data science solving some problem? So that is not a question that I can answer, let's say in 2 minutes or 5 minutes. So we had a demo session which was almost for 2 hours, where we explained that what exactly is data science, what is machine learning, how it is helping the business or industries, okay, and why the data is so important. So how many of you have attended that or seen the recording? Please confirm with a yes or no in the chat. Okay, so I will see what we can do for that. But for today, let us start our introduction to programming. So this is going to be hands-on. I'm writing the code. You are also supposed to write it. And if you run into any problems, then let me know. So open your Jupyter notebooks. I have already opened. I have navigated to the folder. create a new notebook. It is up to you. What would you like to call it? As I am supposed to share with you, so my names will be based on session and then what is the topic covered. Okay, please update if all of you are ready with the notebooks. Okay. So let us start. So we are going to start with how to receive input or how to give something as output. Those are the two simplest concepts. And based on that, we'll also in the end create a few very simple programs. Fine. Before starting that, we need to understand two data. Okay, very simple, or let's say very common. Integer and string or characters. So let me just give you a little bit of introduction. So these are your integers. Okay. And if you want to add them, then you can do something like this. Then, and you can perform other operations also directly. Now, when you take something as input from the user, or if you want it to, if you want it for later calculations, then you need to store them inside variables. Variables are something which are used to store data. Fine. So I can say A is equals to 4. I can say B is equals to 6. Now these two variables are storing the data. So whenever I have to refer to these numbers, I can simply use A and B. So if I say this is the result I get. Fine. So this is about integer, although we will discuss it about much more in detail when we talk about data types. But for now, to get started, I think this is sufficient. Next one you need to understand is string. So anything that is enclosed within these quotes is a string. For example, hello. This will be treated as it is, a collection of characters. Fine. So this will be printed as it is. Now, so you might be confused, okay, why I am getting this as output when I have not really written the print statement. Okay, you write 5 here, it shows you the output. So that is a facility of Jupyter cells. It will show you the output of the last statement. Like if I write it here, it will show me the output. But if I write two statements, for example, let's say I have A and B. So A is 4, B is 6. So if I write A multiplied by B, so if it is the last statement, it will automatically give me the output. But if it is not the last statement, then it will not give me. It will only show the output of the last one. So that's where the print comes in. So print is how you display output using Python. And this output you are just able to see because of the advantage or facility provided by Jupyter Notebook. So here you see both. Fine. So it was a quick introduction to integer and string, two types of data. How to, we have numbers and then we have a collection of characters. So I think that will be sufficient to understand print and input and very few basic Python commands. If they were not clear, so this was just a quick go through, so that because we are going to use them, numbers and everything, everybody understand this, but we will do more detailed study when we start the concept of data types. Okay, So let us start our first concept in Python. Now you might ask why we are studying print and input first, because those are the most primary operations. You have done something, now you need to see what you have done or what calculations or performance you have done. You need to show it as output. Fine. And then you should also know how to take input if you are going to do something. Correct? So that's why we are starting our study of Python with print and input. Fine. Let us start with print. Print is used to, just like the name says, print. It is used to print something as output. Okay, it is used to show the output. And how do you print something? So this way, print and then brackets. So whatever you write inside these brackets, it will be shown as output to you. If you are writing a message, that message will be printed as it is. If you are writing the name of a variable, so what value it is storing, that will be printed. If you write an expression like a plus b, sorry, an operation like a plus b, a multiplied by b, or 5 plus 2, 5 multiplied by 2, so their results will be printed. So this one is used to print something. Very easy. In other languages, the statement is very complex. In Java, it is like system.out.println, and then you mention what you are printing. Python, just use print. What you want to say, just write inside, and then that will be shown. So now you can start doing hands-on. Let's say I just want to print hello. So now hello is what? Hello is a string. So I will have to enclose it within quotes if I want it to be printed as it is. Fine. So you can definitely have a bigger string. This is known as a string. A collection of characters is known as a string. So print fine. You can definitely print multiple statements in the same cell. Like we need to understand both. It is up to me if I want to show how I want to show you or how I want to make you learn. So I can definitely write multiple statements in the same cell. For example,
what happens if you use double quote?
Double quote can also be used. For strings, you can use both. Single quotes also, double quotes also.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so here I have written 3 print statements like this. This is a single statement in Python. Okay, like this is a single statement. This is a single statement, correct? And we are simply printing something. It is definitely possible for me to print multiple statements here. Fine. So you see all the outputs of all of these you can observe here. What happens if you print a number? So definitely if you, let's say, write 5, so it will be printed as it is. What if you print a variable? So let's say there's a variable called a, and I have stored the value of 50 here. Fine. So if I write print a, then the value of that variable will be printed 50. So we know what exactly is stored in that. Okay. Let's say I have 2 variables. So I can definitely, now if you want to perform some operation, then that can also be printed. Let's say you want to print the sum of these 2. So if you write a plus b, then it will print 60. So this is used, quotes are used when you want to print a message or basically a string. Now, if you enclose this within a string, then it will just print a plus b. Fine, like this. But when you write it without quotes, then it means, okay, here you are talking about variables. Fine. And then you want to perform addition operation between those variables. So if I write this, then it performs this addition operation. So that's how we produce output. If you want to print a message, you can directly write it like this. Multiple statements can be used. You can print numbers, you can print results of operations. Everything can be done using print. Okay. You can print a string also. For example, if I store a message in S, let's say, and then if I print S, so whatever is stored inside S, that will be printed. Okay, so I hope you are understanding everything or getting the idea. It is also possible to print multiple things using the same print statement. So let's say I want to print 2 separate messages. Now I can enclose the whole thing into a single one. I can also enclose this into 2 separate. So how do you separate? Using comma. So print hello and then print now both of these will be printed. Okay, they look like a same statement, but they are 2 different things, right? Now let's say you want to check the value. You can definitely mix and match things, like here you can have a number and a string. Okay, and then you can have a variable also. Let me show you. So you can mix and match. So this print statement, we first print a string, we have another string, and then we also have an integer.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can we print in comma? Just like that, you have printed hello, how are you?
I'm not able to hear you properly. Can you please repeat?
Can we print comma here?
Yes, if you include this comma inside this, then you will print the comma.
Okay.
Okay, like when you want to print something as it is, then you print it and enclose within quotes. Because there are some things which you carry special meaning to this when you're writing a program. Okay, so for strings, that's why we have this notation, and then everything else we have different meanings. So here, if you want to print multiple things into the same statement using same statement, and for separating you use commas. Let me show you one more example. So we have 2 variables A and B. So now I want to print their values. So print value of A is A. So first it will show this message as it is. Then when you print a variable, its value is printed. So then comma A. You can do it separately also in the same thing also. We can do the same with B also. So now it shows you value of A is, so this is printed as it is because it is a string, and then A, we print its value because it is a variable, so its value will be printed. Now, new learners sometimes make this mistake. So when you write A here, then you cannot expect its value to be written. It will simply be printed as it is. So if you want to print its value, you have to write it like this. Okay, everything clear till now?
Utkarsh,
Is there an option? Okay.
Utkarsh, one question, maybe a simple one. Can we call other line in this? I mean, for example, if we have an variable in line 1, and we want to call that variable or use that variable in line 22 or 23, maybe. So
Yes,
we can do that as well.
definitely. I think you are asking if I have created a variable in this cell, so can I use it in this cell? Is it your question?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. It is whatever the variables you are creating, you see this is whole a same thing. Whatever your variables you are creating, operations or the changes you are making, they are common to everything. Here I am showing you so that you write the whole thing again. Okay, it makes sense what we are doing. But yes, you can use.
Okay.
Like before declaring them again, if I use A and B, so they will show 50 and 10. Like this is not a different environment. It is the same thing. You are just dividing your code for ease of understanding and simplicity into different parts.
Okay.
So you get the flexibility to execute them separately.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
And regarding that, how to print a variable or a placeholder, that concept we will discuss, but a little bit later. Okay. Now, let me show you another example to print multiple statements. Fine. So these are three different statements. Now you have to observe that all of them are being printed in different lines. Yes. Like when I say print, so you might have this question, okay, if you're printing the output, so why isn't the output of the statement being printed immediately after this one? Why is it getting printed in the next line and then again in the next line? I hope all of you are observing that all of them appear in separate lines, correct? So what if you want to print them in the same line or do something else? Right? A valid question. So for
Yes.
that,
We can
yeah.
create this print statement in a one line, including with these codes. One line, or we can start a code from one line and can be continue for up to next
No, that
last
can
line.
be done, but there are sometimes operations or situations where you feel suitable writing multiple or different print statements. Okay.
We can't print.
Let's say
If
there are
I start. Mhm.
yes, there are variables in between, and then there are calculations and some other things are there. So you need some facility to
I'm
make
asking for the only print statement.
right.
Okay.
You need the facility to make the outputs of different print statements appear in the same line or do other things. So for that, we have a parameter called end. Okay, so this end is used to specify what appears after a print statement. So by default, a next line appears. By default, a new line appears. So you complete one statement, okay, and then a new line appears. Fine. This print statement or print function has a parameter called end. Using this, you can control what appears after you have finished printing whatever there is inside this print statement. Fine. So by default, it is like this, new line. So in Python, we represent new line by this character. So we are saying, okay, print this or whatever you have. If there are multiple things you're printing, do all of that. When you have finished doing, so in the end, print this. So this is similar to new line. That's the default value. You will see there is no change because that is the default value. This symbol is used to tell the Python or this, let's say, interpreter that we are trying to print a new line. So this is used for new line. Fine. Now let's say I want my output of my multiple print statements to be separated by spaces. I do not want to separate them by new line. So then all you have to do is you can give spaces. So now at the end, the space will print and then the output of next print statement will start after that. So now you can see all of them appear in the same line. Let's say I want to give 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Here also done. Okay. If you write anything after this, so that will still appear in the new line because you have not included anything here. Because after this you have not specified and by default it is printing a new line. So this appears. If you include the end after this, then it will also appear in the same line. Using the AND operator, you can control what you want to, or basically how you want your print statement to end. Whether you want it to end with a new line so that the next output you are showing that will appear in the next one, or you want it to do, or you want something else. And it is not about space and strings. You can write whatever you want. For example, let's say if I write something weird, it's simply saying this is what you should include after at the end of the statement. Fine. Let's say I just write this. So this will appear. So after your first print statement, you see this thing is appearing.
One question, actually, I'm facing an error when using print function. So it's kind of it's not reading that function. So it's not green, getting color a green.
What is the error you are getting?
Error is like name print is not defined.
So are you using small p or capital P?
Small p.
Then I don't think there should be a problem.
Okay. No, I think I am using a capital P there. So maybe in that case.
Right. So one more thing I forgot to mention, Python is case sensitive. So print with a small p is a function. If you are using capital P or any other letter capital, it is not going to work.
Okay.
Fine.
Yep.
So this is your end parameter. You can use it to control what appears at the end of a print statement. Fine. Is it clear to all of you? Everything fine till now?
Yes.
Any doubts?
No.
Okay. So if you run into any errors, you can definitely let me know. Fine. So next, so this is about what appears at the end of the statement. Now, how to control what appears in between the multiple outputs of the same statement. Fine. So the next concept is SAP. Fine. So I have a print statement which has multiple outputs. So you see multiple outputs of the same statement, they appear separated by white spaces. Now it is not because I'm giving it here. That's just for clarity. It has no effect. Fine. So you have a white spaces in between that. Hello, then a white space. So just like by default, a print statement ends with a new line. The outputs, multiple outputs within the same statement, they end with a white space. So there's a parameter to control that also, and that parameter is sep. Remember, AND controls what appears at the end of the whole print statement, and sep controls what appears in between the multiple outputs. By default, sep is set to white space. Okay, so the output is same. Now, let's say I want my outputs to be separated by 5 white spaces. So you will observe 5 white spaces appear between multiple outputs. Hello, good afternoon. How are you? Fine. If I want to write something random, or let's say if I want to make them appear in new lines, so definitely I can do that also. So now it will behave like 3 different print statements. So that can also be done. So now my each output is separated by a new line. So all of them appear in different lines. I want to give like an @ or something else. So that will be printed in between. Fine. So that was about the print statement and sep. And is used to control what appears in the end. Now it is optional, you will need them very rarely, but it's good to know that it is possible. Then sep controls what appears in between. Okay. And if you are thinking, can we combine them? Definitely. So let's write an example. Okay. So by default, sep is set to white space. So let me make it. So I want my outputs to be separated by 3 white spaces, individual outputs within the same statement. Fine. And then I can use AND also. So let's say I want my this print statement to end with not a new line, but a lot of white spaces. Fine, let's see. So now, hello, good afternoon. They are separated by 3 white spaces. 1, 2. Okay, white space is also a character, remember. 3. And then here, a lot of them. So this is our sep and end. Print statement, you will need them very rarely. Most of the times you will just be using print, and it's totally fine. So now we completed the print statement. Okay. And next we are going to talk about how to input, how to take something as input. And then we will create a few very simple programs revolving around these. Fine. Is print clear to all of you?
Yeah.
Okay. let us talk about input. So now you can also understand the importance of variables. Like when you take something as input from the user, you need to store it somewhere. So you store that into variables. We will understand more about variables in the next session. What are variables? What are data types? What are expressions? What are statements? All of that in the next session. Today, let's just say we use them to store things. So how to take something as input? It is very simple. Let's say you want to take a number as input. So let me call it number, okay, num equals to, and then you use the input function. That's it. So just like there was a print function for printing, okay, and you whatever you write there, it prints that, and there is an input function to take input. Now if I execute this, a box will appear which will let me enter my input. Fine, let's say 5. Done. So 5 will be taken as input, it will be stored inside num. So if I print num, then you will see it is showing 5. Fine. Now let's say I want to take your name as input. And if I print what is inside name, then it will show Utkarsh. It was taken as input from the user and then stored inside this variable. So here you get to see what exactly is stored inside this variable. That's how you take input in Python. I hope that is clear. You have one more feature. When you are taking multiple outputs, let's say I want to input the name and I also want to input the age. Fine. So it is better if you let the user know what he is supposed to input. Fine. That can be done like this: name, input. So if you leave it empty, only a text box will appear. But if you provide a message inside this, then that message will appear before that box where you enter. So I write enter your name. Fine. Let me write the printing also in the same cell. Print name. So here you see enter your name appears. Now I write, it looks like this. So now you see it looks weird. So it is better to make it look good. So I include this. Enter your name, nicely spaced. So here it prints my name. This is a simple Python program which asks the user to enter the name and simply prints the name. You can also write the name is, and that's it. How to take two values? You can definitely take two values. Name, enter your name. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. We ask the user to enter his name. We ask the user to enter his age. We store them inside two variables, name and age, and then we simply display his information. Okay. So here you get to see the output. Now this is what you are entering, those text boxes, but this is the real output. Okay, that this is the name you entered, this is the age you entered. And that's it about the input function. So is this simple program clear to all of you?
Utkarsh, I am facing some issues with this simple coding. So the line number is showing me as star asterisk.
Yes, that problem will happen because before inputting, you moved somewhere else, your cursor here and there, and now it is waiting. Okay, it is stuck. It is not executing because you have not provided the input. How it may look like? So maybe you are here, and then let's say I started doing something here.
Okay.
Now, whatever you do, it will not happen.
So, okay, what should I do then?
For this, the solution is, so all of you will also run into this problem. So focus. For this, you need to interrupt. That means you need to stop everything, whatever is happening. You need to click this black square.
Okay.
You have two options. You can interrupt from here, or you can simply click this black square.
Okay.
Okay. Now it has been interrupted, and you can correct the mistake and start again.
Okay. Okay.
Any other issues?
No.
One more concept. It requires some knowledge of data types, but I think you will understand what we are trying to do. Okay. So here, whenever you take something as input from the user, it is always in the form of a string. Okay. Those who are from other languages, they might know that whatever you take as input from the user, it is always in the form of characters. Whatever you are entering from your keyboard, it is in the form of characters. So in Python, you call it a string. Fine, like age here is not really a number. Fine, you will expect the age of a user to be an integer. Okay, but here it is not an integer. How can you check that? So in Python, we have a function called type. It is used to check what type of data is stored inside a variable. So if I write name, it will show you str. So str is short for string. Fine. Now, if I check what type of data is stored inside age, so you might expect integer, but no, it will tell you str. So 30 is not really a number or integer. It is simply a collection of two characters. In our case, 3 and 0. So if you want to perform some integer operations with it, not possible. So what is the solution for that? The solution for that is whenever you are taking a number as input, then you take it as it is as input, and then you convert it into an integer. So I can convert it into an integer using this function, integer age. Okay. So age is equals to int age. So first convert it to an integer. Now it will be converted if it is compatible. So if your string only has digits like 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 9, so it will be easily converted to an integer. Otherwise not. If you have a character, that definitely cannot be converted to an integer. So this is one way that you first ask for input and then later store it. Another way is you do it while asking for input. So you can enclose this whole thing within int. So let me show you int and then write that inside it. So this will take your input. Okay. And then that input will be converted to an integer. Then it will be stored inside your variable age. Fine. Now let's take the output again. Now you check the type of age. It is showing integer. Is this clear to all of you? Like why we need to do this and how to do this? Please reply with a yes or no.
Excuse me, sir. Can you explain once again, sir?
Okay. So whatever you take as input from the user, fine, it is always in the form of characters and strings, right? Whatever you're typing on your keyboard and entering here, so they will be treated as characters, and a collection of characters is a string. So if you want to perform some number related operations with age, okay, let's say you input the age of 10 people and you want to calculate their average age. So there you will need to add them and divide them. So there you expect the age to be a number, but no, as you have taken it as input from the user, so it is in the form of a string. So whenever you expect a number as an input, so you always use this int function. So first take that input and then convert it into integer, then store it. So basically this is how you take integer inputs. Because if you are taking an integer input, you will expect to perform integer or number related operations with it. Fine. So that's why whenever you expect
There is no difference in the output. Why so?
No, because in output, if you print a string, if you print a number, it will look same. That's why I use the type method. This lets you know what exactly is the type of information stored. Like if I print 30 as a number and if I print 30 as a string, the output will be same. 30 will be printed as it is. And in this case also 30 will be printed as it is. Right? That's why we use this type function. So this type function lets you understand what type of data is stored. When you print, then they look both the same. But when you try to perform some operation, then you will realize. So here this type function, it tells you what type of data is stored inside a variable. So here I checked str and then age. So you might think that I entered 30, but why it should say integer? So why is it saying str for string? Because whatever you take as input is in the form of a collection of characters or a string. So that's why we need to convert it into an integer. Now you check the type of age after this, it shows you int. Clear? Okay. So now we have learned this input and output, and I think how to perform some operations, you want to add two things, a plus b, you want to subtract a minus b, so all that can be done here. So let us today start creating some very simple Python programs. Okay, very simple Python programs, which will not include anything that we have not discussed today.
Excuse me.
Yes.
See, I have interrupted also, but the again the star only is coming for me.
Whenever you ask for input, then you need to provide the input and then press enter to move to the next cell. I think you didn't press that enter. That's why you're having the problem.
I'm pressing enter, it is going next line only.
Okay.
Yeah,
Share your screen.
Yeah, can you share the screen and we can have a look?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, first interrupt. Press this black square. Have you closed the background?
Might be. Shall I restart?
Yes, as I can see on your taskbar, you have closed that background. Right now, click on I think it is already saved. You are not supposed to close that background. I mentioned that in the last session also. So you need to open Jupyter again. Close this browser. Leave. Close this also. Now open Jupyter. I said you are not always supposed to do it from here. You will have the app directly. Okay, close this. Now search for Jupyter. JUPY. Yes, right click on it. There it is, right click, or it is, you can see the option pin to taskbar or pin to start for easy access. Okay, now you can always click there to open it. Do not maximize it, let it be. Now it will open a browser window. You can maximize this one. This is where you will be working. Maximize this. Now see where you have stored that notebook that you created.
Yeah, this is.
You click on that notebook. No, the one which you were working previously.
Yeah, that was, I think that is not saved.
No, show me what is that untitled one.
Sorry.
Is it the one?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, now execute the code where you were getting the error. Scroll up. Where you are taking input. Okay, yes, execute this 8 cell. Others can also notice. Try to minimize the use of mouse, always use shortcuts. Okay, enter name. Press enter. Now print this, execute this cell where you have written this print statement. Not this one, that is empty, the next one. The print my name is name. Execute this. Use shortcuts always. So it shows you my name is Senthil Nathan. Okay.
Yeah, and shortcut is shift plus enter. I posted it in the chat also. It's shift plus enter to execute the cell.
Is there any shortcut for Markdown? I mean, to switch from code to
Yes,
Markdown.
if once you are not inside the cell, like as of now, this Senthil is inside the cell, so you can press escape to go outside the cell, and then press M. That converts your cell from the cell to Markdown.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so now you can stop sharing.
And what to switch back again to code from Markdown? Any shortcut again?
I'm trying to show you the list of all shortcuts. Like I myself have lost it. Where is it? Just a minute.
Yes, it is in help and then shortcuts. This second one, keyboard shortcuts.
Okay, here it is.
So
So here you can
find
get all the list of shortcuts that you want to have. Okay, so what was your question? Markdown cell. I think it will take some time. You can explore it yourself. Okay, like here are those two options.
Yes.
Fine.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So now let us start with our practice. So I think these concepts are clear to all of you. So I will give you a question. No matter how much time it takes, you need to write it yourself. You need to correct all the errors. If you cannot do it, then you can ask for help, right? But it is mandatory that you complete the code. So the first question is very simple. take details as input from user and print them. Okay. Now what we are supposed to do here, you need to ask the user to enter his details, okay, one by one. So you take the first name as input, you take last name, you take age, gender, and city. Let's say 5 are sufficient. So how you will do it? Your variable name should also be relevant to what is the information stored inside them. So like if you want to create a variable which stores the first name, so call it first name. If you create a variable to store last name, call it last name. Okay, space is not allowed. You can use underscore in a variable name. Okay, first space name, no, that is not allowed. First underscore name you can use. Then a variable called age, then gender, then city. So input these 5 information about these 5 categories, and then you need to print this information. First print the details of user R, and then print first name, just like we did here, like name, age, so it shows you like this. You have to do the same thing, like first name, last name, age, gender, city, just like that. First take the input and then simply print
Utkarsh,
them.
for this we have to take first name and last name as a single input, or we have to divide it by two
No,
ways?
2 separate ones. Like
separate.
here, when I was taking name and age and input, I took them separately. So now
Okay.
you will have 5 statements like these to take 5 inputs, and then 5 print statements to print 5 inputs. Between them include another print statement to show the details of the person are, and then start doing this.
Okay.
Okay, please inform me, is the question clear to all of you? It is going to be our first very simple Python program. Is it clear that what you are supposed to do? Please confirm. Okay. And answer through direct message. So all the others also get to solve it themselves. Fine. Do not, you need to do this, and then you need to share your answer with me. Do it through the direct message to me. And I advise all of you do this because you may feel you understand, but when you actually start writing things, then you definitely run into unexpected errors. Okay, I just got a doubt. Doubts you need to ask in the everyone chats, because so that when I'm explaining something, others also know what exactly I'm explaining. Answers to questions in through direct message, but doubts through the everyone chat. Yes, you like you need to not just print them like first name, last name directly as it is. You need to print it in a good way, like this, like name and then first name. So exactly this is the first name, last name, this is the last name, like that. Or maybe your first name is, your last name is, something like that. That is up to you. Correct answer, Abhilash. But do not forget to convert age to integer. Like here we are not doing any operations, so then it seems fine, but it's a good practice to convert them into integers.
Is there any character limits, Utkarsh, when we use input for a string or for a numbers? I mean,
No,
number of strings
not
kind of a
any.
things.
So you will never run into that problem.
Okay.
Correct. It's good if you let the user know what exactly he's supposed to enter. Although the program is fine, but these are like the small things that matter, right? You can just write first name, last name. It will work, but you need to make it look good. You need to make your code or output or whatever you are doing readable as much as possible. That's why you will see me including these. Like this is not really required. I can just write name and then I can just write name like this variable. Then this will not appear, but this makes it look good, right? Or you can also use equal to, like name is equals to, but I think this is better.
Also, yeah, please go ahead first.
Actually, I want to share the snapshots. So how could I do that?
Snapshot? Are you using it on a different PC?
No, same. But anyway, I'll share my desktop to you.
No, you can just copy paste that code and just copy it from your notebook and paste it into the Zoom chat. That's it.
Great. I'm getting answer of this.
For example, let's say I want to share this with you. So I just copy it and I just paste it. Done.
Yeah, I also sent. You got mine, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the same way I'm doing with the another variable and I'm not getting the as a input. It's not giving me the same way I'm creating the second object. And didn't get any. What is the wrong with the second line? Why I'm not getting as enter your surname like hint?
I'm not really understanding the question. You get last name equals to enter your surname, and then
I didn't
what
get
happens?
It's supposed to ask me, it should print like enter your name, then blank space, right? Where I can put my surname.
Yes.
But it is not happening.
Okay, share your screen.
Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
No.
So I have run this.
No, it is you are facing that issue. You need to interrupt
Yes.
it. You need to
Fine.
interrupt. You see that asterisk. That asterisk means your this cell is still under execution. There is some problem with it. So you
Okay,
need
fine.
now execute it.
I have
Enter the
executed.
name.
I got something. Okay.
Okay, now
Now.
press enter. Now you are supposed to press enter. That is a mistake.
Okay. Okay.
To
Okay.
let it know that okay, you have finished entering.
Fine.
Otherwise, it will keep waiting.
Okay. Fine. 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 That is. I thought I have entered and I'm trying to.
Now
execute.
try it again here. Enter something, and then when you have finished entering, then you need to press enter to denote okay, I have finished. This is my input. Otherwise, it will keep
Okay.
waiting.
That asterisk means it is still waiting for it.
Yeah, it is still waiting and it is still under execution. So you cannot even execute the cells further. The asterisk will keep on appearing.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I just want to address one issue which was shared before, like what is the role of that clusters column, So suppose if you're working for an industry and you have a very huge data which cannot be, taken to the local computer which you're working in. So what you usually do, you'll connect your Jupyter notebook to the server computer, which is available in your company or in some other places. So that connection is done using another CLI or any other source. It could be any operating system, say like Linux or whatever. Once that connection is made, you'll run the Jupyter notebook exactly the same way. But now instead of this local host 8888, you'll have some other, the IP address or the link given to you through this connection made between your computer and the server computer. And now whatever work you will do, you will be getting data from that server. You'll be saving your notebook into that server instead of saving it into your computer. So that actually is the purpose of that clusters. And if you make such connections, that will be showing in that column in the clusters. So I hope it helps in, understanding it. Like it is for, it's for big data. You can call it, it's for big data. Yeah, you can call it, but we very, we don't use it much for the big data. We have various options for using it for other options for big data. But yes, it could help in that. It could help in that.
Okay, not necessarily for big data. Simple way to understand this is now your interface appears in your browser. Okay, and then all the processing, basically this thing, this is the backend server. It is also running on your PC. Now let's say your interface is in your PC, but then this processing or the resources or whatever are being used, it happens on some other machine. So client server kind of thing. It is for that purpose. So not really useful for us.
Yeah, that's what.
You can ignore it. Like this will be happening somewhere else, and on your browser through the connection, internet or some other LAN and all, you will see that output here. Okay, just like it happens with websites. You are doing something on the website on the internet, but processing is happening somewhere else. You just use the website as an interface. So same thing here. Currently, everything is happening on your PC, but you have that option, but still not really useful. So you can ignore that for now. Okay. So I think a lot of you have answered correctly. Great. So
Utkarsh, one question regarding input. So can the input be the combination of the calculation, which is based on some other things, like for example, a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 2, and we want to use it into the input. So how we can do that as well, right?
Yes,
A plus B.
No, I'm not really understanding.
No,
You want to take expressions as inputs.
Yeah, expressions as input. Can we?
No, I'm still not getting it.
I think
Expressions.
what he's asking is if you have created various variables and you want to print out those variables, say suppose you created a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. And now what he's asking is you want to take that as input.
Right.
But I don't understand, if you already have declared a variable, why you want to take it as input from the user? The whole purpose of the taking input is like user must be entering the value, right? Did I make sense, 9?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
what
Yes.
I
Definitely.
believe is, if you have entered a is equal to 10, then why are you asking for input if you have to specify the same thing inside the input? Because the purpose of input is like user must be giving you some value, but in your case, you have already declared a value.
Someone has to mute. I think I'm not getting the answer.
Satyalata, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. So Naeem, I'll repeat again. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I'm telling you is very basic. So what you're asking is, suppose you have declared A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. And now you want to take A as the input. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
But my question is, why you want to do that? Because the purpose of input is like user must be entering a value.
Okay.
Purpose it
Okay.
like user must be entering a value rather than you specifying a value to the input. So
Yeah.
if you've
So.
already declared A is equal to 10, then why you want to make it complicated and take again another input? That also from user, not from the user basically.
Okay, so that
So,
input
yeah.
is something coming through some other person, not
Yeah.
from.
Yeah. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to productionize our code. Say for example, now
Okay,
tomorrow.
Nikhil, you can resolve this. The question is a little bit ambiguous, so you can
Yes.
resolve this through the chat. Okay,
Chat only.
let me
Okay.
continue.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Fine. So all of you have answered it correctly. Now let us proceed. Let me also write it for those who want to understand. So we create a variable first name, and then we ask the user for input. Okay, input. Enter your first name. Okay. Done. Input your last name. Fine. Age. Int. I think this is what most of you have not included. Enter your age. Fine. Then what else I mentioned? I think it was city. Enter your city. Fine. So you have taken these as input. Now you want to print these as output. Okay. So now the space I leave here, it doesn't make any sense. It will not appear in the output. Okay. This is just for making your code more readable. So this is the part I'm taking input. Here I'm printing output. You can also write it in different cell, no problem. So print the details are first name, and like the issues you might run into here are name mismatches or name mismatch. Let's say here you have it first name, and then maybe here you have written it as a capital. Okay, capital F. Here it was small f, here it was capital F. So there are some naming conventions. Your variable name should always be small case letters. Okay, and if there are different words, then they should be separated by underscore. Like this is an error. These are two different variable names. So if you want to, if you have like interest rate, so interest rate you will name like this. Interest underscore rate. Okay. Take care of names if they are same. So that's it. That is a very simple, our first Python program. Congratulations to all of you, which takes input from the user and simply prints the result. Okay, let's execute this. You need to press enter to represent that, okay, you have finished providing your input. Otherwise it will, you see it is still running. While the cell is running, it shows you asterisk. Now if I start executing another cell, it will keep on waiting for the input, right? So you need to provide your input and then press enter to denote that, okay, you have finished providing the input. Fine. Just a minute.
Age is having two input.
Yeah, you got two inputs.
Okay, that is a mistake. I think I copy pasted the previous one, so I left it here. Okay. Now you see, I need to use this thing myself. So you first have this input and then you say the details are, and here are the details. Maybe it will look a little bit better if you include a new line here. Yes, one more thing you can learn. When you write a empty print statement, so it inserts a new line. Now, if you want to insert more new lines, you can use this character. Okay, /n. So now one line because of this print and then another new line because you're printing a new line. So this should appear 2 lines below the previous output that you see. Fine. So you see, it appears 2 lines below.
Sir, I do have a question.
Yes.
When the error was right now at the input, when you copy pasted two input statements, right? It was integer inside input, again inside input enter your age, and when you entered 15, it again gave 15. But syntactically, why did it give error? Because syntactically it was not the issue. First input will get the 15 as an input. Then again,
No, that error was because I just printed some characters. You are right. You can definitely cascade these, but I entered to finish that quickly. I wanted to get that error so I can start it again. Okay, so I did that intentionally. I have written some random characters. Now it was trying to convert those characters to integer. So the error was because of that.
no,
So
no,
then,
the previous error before you entered some random characters now.
no, there wasn't any error. It was just showing me the previous input 15, and then after that it was opening another text box.
Because it should directly typecast it, right?
Right. It was opening another text box, so there wasn't any error. When I did that, I entered characters, so it was showing me errors.
Okay.
Okay, I did that intentionally so that it finishes execution. I can do it again.
Okay.
Fine. So I hope this first program is clear to all of you. Now let's take another one which does some operation. So you need to take two numbers as input. This is regarding numbers. I hope all of you were able to successfully do the first one. Fine. So take two numbers as input and print three things. Okay, print the sum of the numbers is sum, the difference of the numbers is different, and the product is product. Simple. Now, based on this, the next question will be a little bit better. Currently, we are just getting used to taking input output, performing simple addition, subtraction operations. Okay. So at least we stop making syntax errors. We get used to the Python syntax. For subtraction, minus is there, addition, plus is there. For product, you need to use asterisk. It is simple. I think you should be able to do this within 2 to 3 minutes. Or no problem. It is our first or second program. You can take your time. Those who are running into errors, any type of error, indentation or anything else, you can definitely share.
This Preeti messaged me privately about she's not able to enter the Zoom meeting. She was before using mobile and now she connected to the laptop. So if somebody has the permission, can you please let her in? Thank you.
No, I'm not receiving any requests to join. I think
okay.
I am the host.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
I haven't
then,
received any requests.
All right, so I'll message her again. Thank you.
She can join with the same link.
Yeah, that's what I told her. I just told like once she's successfully in, let me know, and she's like, no, still not. So that's why I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Are you all solving it and you need more time, or I need to show? Please confirm. Correct. Correct. Unable to get the answer. No, I said you need to take as input. You are just assigning the numbers there. Like you have written age equals to 10, age equals to 20. You are supposed to take them as input. I'm answering
Okay.
Ritesh. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
But still, you should get the answer. Like you will not run into any errors.
No, I'm not getting any input.
If you have written
Output.
age
Sorry.
equals to 10, b is equals to 20, so it should be able to print a plus b, a star b, and a minus b. What is the error that you are getting?
No error. I'm not getting any error, but I'm not getting any output as well.
Try again. Do you see an asterisk here?
Yeah.
Maybe in one of the previous cells you have done some mistake. So click on this black square and then execute the cell where you have written this code.
Okay. Yeah. Now I got it.
Okay.
Thank
but this is not what you were supposed to do.
So you want me to do it
Take input
like
and then do the operations.
Got it.
Yes, this way is also correct. Like you first store the result into some variables, like sum is equals to a plus b, difference is equals to a minus b. This is how also you can do it. But why waste variables when you are just supposed to output them? Okay, so easy question. I think all of you have done this. So let's say a is equals to int input a plus b. If you are doing it the other way, that is also fine. First storing the result and then printing, that is totally fine. This I do to just make it a little bit more aligned and readable. It is not something that is mandatory. And then the space is also not mandatory. If you are leaving spaces here, it will not matter. Fine, like this is the same, but it looks a little better if we do it like this. The sum is 15, the difference is 5, the product is 50. Okay. Okay, welcome back. Fine. So let's do the last question for today. And using that question, I will also explain the next concept, inserting variables. Let's just first solve the question. So this question, you are supposed to take amount, rate, and duration in number of years. Let me just write number of years from user. Okay, and print the interest amount. Fine, and net amount after that duration. Okay, including the interest. Let me be more specific. Simple interest. Fine. The formula is amount multiplied by rate multiplied by duration, let's say years, and then divided by 100. So you take these three things as input from the user. Now you need to output two things. First, the interest. Okay, what is the interest? Interest amount. Fine, and then also the net amount.
Utkarsh, I think Preeti joined, but she wants to share the screen so that she can start the program. So can we allow by the time everyone is solving the question?
Isn't like, is she able to access the chat?
Yes, she just messaged me personally.
Okay, no
Preeti,
problem.
can you share what is the issue now?
Yes, sir. I'm just install Jupyter and just run it, but the program is not running on that.
Okay,
Okay,
share your screen.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Is it visible, sir?
Not yet. Yes, now it is visible.
I think it is that Firefox tab.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you have to click on the Firefox tab.
Wait. Yes, sir.
Then see this my first notebook. I think this is
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
right.
Yeah,
So
the
you
same
have done the
issue.
same mistake.
Same issue.
You need
everyone
to
has
click
done.
the black square.
But there is no error, sir.
No error because it is not completed execution. Click on this cell, and now I think you have closed that. Is it running? So click on the black square. Okay, click on kernel. Click on restart. Restart.
Yeah.
Now execute.
She is providing input as okay. Yeah. Please go ahead. We'll see.
Connected to kernel.
Okay, run.
Okay.
No, do it again. Go to that cell.
First step.
Again restart.
Again restart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Erase the statement. No, do not run it. Erase the statement.
Sorry, sir.
Delete the statement. Just write something like write print h or print one, any statement. No, print. Write 5 there in the bracket. Why is it not appearing as green?
Yeah, that's
okay.
what.
Execute. Okay, close this. Close the Jupyter kernel and open the Jupyter again.
Yes.
It should have appeared green if everything was fine. Close the Jupyter kernel also. Not this one. You should see Jupyter opened. Yes, close this. Start the Jupyter again. Now open any notebook.
It's my notebook.
That's the folder.
Yeah, that is a folder inside
Okay,
my
create a new notebook here. No, create a new notebook. First, uncheck that box. Now create a new notebook. Python 3. Now write a simple print statement. Brackets. Write 5 here inside the brackets. No, I think there's some issue with your installation. You will have to do it again.
Okay, so I'll take it then.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you can stop sharing and we can talk on this.
Okay, so let me just go through the chat and check a few answers. Fine, so most of you have got this. I think it is pretty simple. Then we ask for years as input. Currently, we are only dealing with integer values. That's what we have studied. Some of you might guess it can be float also, but that we will discuss later. For now, we have this constraint that only integer values will be present. So now what we are supposed to do here, you will have to save it. You will have to save the result because I have asked two things: print the simple interest and then also the net amount. Fine. So that's why you need to calculate the simple interest and save it. You will print it as it is, that this is a simple interest, and then you will print the net amount, that amount plus simple interest. Fine. So let's say simple int is equals to amount, rate, years divided by 100. Find and print. Fine. Let's execute. Enter the amount 1 lakh or 100,000. Enter the rate, let's say 5%, duration 5 years. So interest is 25,000, I think, which is correct. And then the net amount is 1,25,000. So first tell me with a yes or no, is this program clear to all of you? Simple Python program. Were all of you able to do this? Okay. Now using this, I want to explain the next concept using this example. Now here is, this is the result, but what if you want to print a result like this? Okay. the interest at the rate of, and whatever the user has entered. Let's say interest at the rate of 5% for, and let's say the number of years for 5 years is, and then you write your output, what is your calculations. So here you feel the need to insert the variable or the what is stored inside a variable. Okay, let me show you. Now you can try achieving something like this. Okay, so instead of just saying interest is, I want to show the interest at the rate of, okay, interest at the rate of whatever the user has entered. So now how you include that within this string? Fine. If you just write rate here, so here this rate is it will be printed as it is. You are not really inputting or inserting the value of this variable inside the string. Fine. At the rate of rate, so here we want to insert the value. Fine. At the rate of for, let me just write for rate R and Y years or Y number of years is, and then you print your output. So that will look a little bit more readable. Or here you can say the net amount after Y number of years, okay, with initial amount A, where you insert the value of this amount is, and then you print your net amount. So first tell me, are you understanding what we are trying to do here? Let me know. I want my output to look as per the information that is entered, a little bit more readable. Like I need to write the interest at the rate of this percent for Y years is, or for Y number of years is, then the output. Fine. So here it varies as per the input that is being received. Like you cannot really write 5 and 5 because here I have entered 5, the user may enter something different. So you need to insert whatever is there inside these variables. Fine, or whatever the user has entered. So this can be done like this, like by multiple outputs. If you write a variable name inside string, so it is not really a variable, it is part of that string. Okay, if you write the rate here, so it is part of the string. You cannot expect the value of the rate variable to get printed. So interest at the rate of, then what you can do, close the string, comma, and then write your rate. Fine. So now first this string will be printed, then the value of this variable will be printed, then you start your string again, percent for, then you finish your string here, and here you write years. Fine, you finish. So then it prints percent for, then you print years, then again your string starts, and that's how it progresses. This is one way to do this. Net amount after, same thing here. You are not supposed to do it. I will tell you a better way. I'm just trying to show you the options that you have here, and then you print the name or the value of the variable. Then again your string starts, years with initial amount, comma, here you write amount, then is, and that's it. So this is one way to do it. Fine. This is one way to do it. The interest at the rate of, first this message gets printed, then you print the value of this variable because you have mentioned it as a variable, not a part of the string. Percent for, then this gets printed. Years, years is, and like that. Let me show the how the output will look like. The interest at the rate of 10% for 5 years is 50,000. The net amount after 5 years, its initial amount 1 lakh is 1,50,000. Right?
Utkarsh, I have one question.
Yes.
In that enter the rate field, right? We are taking over there 10. If we are taking over there 10.25, so it will give us the
Yeah, that's what I
output or
mentioned.
what?
Currently, we are only dealing with integers and strings. We have not really studied data types. So there you will have
Okay.
to write float here. You can enter 10.5, but it will be converted to integer. Okay. It will be rounded off to 10 and then it will take it. If you want to take it as float, then instead of int, you need to write float here. That we will study later. Okay. Like in the next session when we are dealing with data types. But I hope you understand this. So here you basically feel the need. This is not really a good way. Let's say you want to enter 5 or 10 things, then what you will do? So not really a good way. So we need a way which allows us to insert the value of a variable within a string, right? We need to do something like that. That is done using dot format function. Okay. So I will write my string as it is. Okay. Without any breaks in between. Fine. The interest at the rate of, now here I want to insert the value of a variable. So I use a placeholder and that is your curly braces. The interest at the rate of curly braces percent for, and then here I want to print the number of years, again curly braces. So this is a placeholder. Fine. And then you use a dot format method. And here you mention by position. What you want to insert here, you mention first. So here I want to insert the rate. So I mention my rate variable. So the value of the rate variable will be inserted here. Then I want to insert years. So value of the years variable will be inserted here. Fine. Now in this case, it may not look like an improvement. Like previously we did this. This is also of almost same length. But imagine you have a lot of variables and then it can get really complicated. So that's where it is very useful. Same thing here. So I keep my string as it is, but here I insert a placeholder. Fine. Here also I insert a placeholder. And then I use dot format amount after years, initial amount. So that's how this dot format function works. It will insert the value of the variables into your string by position. So this goes here, this goes here, its value goes here, its value goes here, just like that. So here you can see the result is same. Now that value of the variable appears. So this is definitely an improvement over this method. Fine. So the interest at the rate of 10% for 5 years is 50,000. The amount, net amount after 5 years with initial amount 1 lakh is 1,50,000. So with this example, I have tried to explain why you might need this format thing. So is it clear to all of you? Why you need it and why
The team will be sharing feedback link for everyone. So please give the feedback. And if you have some, suggestion and improvements, so please.
Right. So feedback form is really important. Okay. So I suggest all of you fill this. So it helps us understand whether or how you are, what you think about the sessions, how you find them, how useful they are to you. Right. So first fill the feedback form, all of you. And then we have finished for today. We created our first few Python programs. They were simple ones. And the idea was to just make you get used to the Python syntax or how we write code in Python. Now you have done it. From the next session, we are going to start with data types in Python. Okay. What are the data types available and what are the operations that you can perform with those data types? So first fill the feedback form. And after that, you can ask any doubts if you have regarding today's session.
So I just wanted to know what would be covered on Saturday and what would be covered on Sunday.
On Saturday, I will first tell you what are data types, why we need data types. Okay. What are all the available data types in Python? Right. Then we will start with our two data types, integer and float. And on Saturday, probably we will also cover strings. Right? Int, float, and strings. That depends on how quickly we understand the doubts and solve the questions. And on Sunday, we will cover all the remaining data types. If we are able to understand them quickly, then we may even start the next topic. But you can think all in all, we will complete the study of data types next week. Okay, and while teaching data types, this I need to make clear, we will not only be just studying, we will also be creating a lot of programs. Like I will tell you what exactly is that data type, what type of operations are allowed on that data type, and what are the inbuilt functions available for those data types. So everything.
Sir, does Python provide intelligence?
Yes, that is available. It is not about the language. These are really third-party tools. So yes, it is available. Okay. If you are using Python with Visual Studio Code, there are a lot of extensions available. Okay. PyLens is the best one.
Okay.
Utkarsh, just one question. So the data type that you mean is like the type what we seen in today's session, right?
I think I'm not supposed to enter the feedback. Okay, please ask again. Sorry.
Sorry, I was asking the data type that you mean is that what type we were trying to do. I mean, trying to see in this today's session.
Yes,
right?
like what is the data type of it? What type of data that variable
What
is
type
holding?
of like a type age we tried that, right?
Right,
so
right.
it gives us integer. Okay.
I think all of you might have filled the feedback by now. Any doubts regarding whatever we have discussed today?
Hi, Utkarsh. I've also shared the drive for people to access yesterday's recordings. That's on the shared drive. So today's recording would be uploaded by end of day today. So going forward, every session which is going to be starting in the morning, the session would be recorded and uploaded on the drive by evening. Yeah. Hope everybody is now clear about it. You would have also received an email to your email. I've also shared it to you in the WhatsApp group as well, the shared drive. So you can also view the recordings out there as well.
This notebook will be shared immediately in your WhatsApp group. I think that will be the best way to share.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So all of you who are not able to do any question or missed some code, so this notebook will be shared as it is, right? And you can now you need to remember, I have already told you how to open a notebook. You first need to take it to the folder which you can access easily from this environment, and then you have to open it. If you directly click on it, it will not open. You need to open it from Jupyter. So you need to find it from Jupyter environment. For that, let's say you have downloaded it from WhatsApp, copy or cut and paste it to the folder which is easily accessible from your Jupyter environment, and then open Jupyter, then open this notebook. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So if there are no doubts, then I hope all of you enjoyed this session. And that is it for today. Thank you.
I just want to add a small point here. So suppose now we already have the group ready and the WhatsApp group ready. So I just request all the participants. So suppose if somebody is asking the doubts, so even you can participate in that. So if you have faced the similar problem or if you have searched about it, so even you can share. So that actually improves the terminology of using the new programming language or learning a new topic. So that's what only the participation is the request from my side, and others I'm already available. Utkarsh already available, so we can guide you if something is wrong. But if you're participating, then you're practicing indirectly. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Chris. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you, everybody. So have a great weekend. Look forward in meeting you guys next Saturday. So please take care of yourself. And if in case if you have any questions or queries related to the course, you could WhatsApp on the group. If at all, if you need any support in terms of any other aspects, please feel free to us to reach out on an email and customer service support. Yeah. Thank you one and all, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Sunil.
you.
And also thank you to all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.